Hello, I'm Matt Guff from thehouse.com, and we just finished lunch, and we're back in the studio with Jason Henderson. How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
So good. There's always been questions about the comparison of the Cartel versus the Malavita, and I thought, why not have a guy who's been with Burton for 16 years walk us through their similarities and their differences, and why you'd want one over the other, and just kind of like componentry of each of them.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here. Thank you guys for watching. And for all the people who asked about the comparison video, here it is.
Yeah, it's the age-old debate.
That's right. It's a tough one.
Budweiser, Miller Lite.
Grain Belt.
I mean, really, it's kind of like, you know, it comes down to like these are some of the most visible bindings out there, especially on our team. It's like, you know, I would say probably 90% of the team like rides, you know, either one of these bindings, you know,
Right.
and a lot of it's just, you know, personal preference. You know, you got guys like Danny Davis, Ben Ferguson, Mark McMorris, you know, that ride everything, you know, kill it everywhere, park, pipe, you know, backcountry, you know, wherever. They like Malavitas. They like something kind of, you know, middle of the road, like nothing crazy stiff. But then you've got, you know, a lot of the pipe guys like, you know, a Yumu and a lot of the Japanese and Euro riders, and, you know, Terrier like still rides Cartels. You know, they want something stiffer, more responsive.
Right.
They like the simplicity and the stiffer base plate on the Cartel. So.
Got it. Now, both the bindings, the Malavitas and the Cartels, come with reflex and EST options. What does that mean for anyone out there that's wondering what that is?
Yeah, basically the reflex is a binding you can put on anything. You can put it on any board out there with the 4-hole pattern, or you can put it on, you know, our boards obviously with the channel.
Yeah.
The EST, you have to ride boards with the channel.
That's right.
So
could you T-bolt your board?
You could. You can do anything once.
You can do anything once.
Just don't expect it to be warranted.
Right.
But reflex, you know, the benefit of reflex is you can put it on any board out there. So if you get a Burton and you have, you know, some other brand, you know, that you have that has 4x4, you want to switch bindings, it gives you that freedom to do
Great.
it. But what reflex does versus other companies, other brands, is it actually works with the flex of the board. So when your board's in the middle of a turn, you want that board to flex as uniformly as possible.
Right.
Without any, you know, dead spots or anything like that. So what the reflex does is they remove a lot of plastic. The discs have like a hinge built into them. So when the board is flexing, the binding flexes with the board, you know, this way. But then you still have your response toe and heel.
Right.
So, and that's where the, you know, the different stiffnesses of, you know, plastic come in. Then the rest is filled in with, you know, cushy EVA to cut down on, you know, heel bruises, you know, shock to your feet, you know, chatter, especially you get on hard pack and, you know, an icy half pipe or something like that, you get that chatter, that kind of helps dampen a lot of that. So,
right.
But then you go to the EST, that moves all the mounting hardware to the outside of the binding. But what that also does is it gives you any adjustments, any degree adjustments you want versus the 3-degree increments, and it also gives you infinite adjustability, toe and heel.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's no plastic under your foot; it's just all, you know, cushy EVA footbed. But again, you have to ride boards with the channel.
Yeah, you can't ride T-bolted boards. Well,
you
channel system boards.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like usually like I tend to ride the Cartel reflex because sometimes every once in a while, you know, I'll want to put it on another style board. But I do have to say, riding a channel system, EST binding, there's nothing like it. The amount of board feel you get, the amount of response that you get, there's really nothing like an EST option.
Well, and especially once you get up into the Cartel and the Malavita EST versions, it's got this little technology called the hinge on it right here. So what that does is the bottom part that mounts to the board is a separate piece from the heel cup area.
Yep.
So what that does is it allows for a little bit of lateral movement. So you can actually kind of like when you're going to pop off jumps, you can almost like load the binding, and it gives you kind of that, you know, snappy, kind of almost skateboard feel to it.
That's right.
So you get a little bit of, you know, foot roll side to side with it without sacrificing toe and heel, but just, you know, another, you know, little thing that the EST, you know, does versus the reflex. But again, it's a lot of it's personal preference. You know, most of the guys, you know, will go EST, but there's guys on the team that, just like the feel of even a reflex on a Burton board. It's just, you know, you can kind of get right in, you know, right in between on what you like. So
Right. Now, the Cartel's, I guess, significantly stiffer than the Malavita. What makes this binding stiffer than
So the
Malavita?
benefit and why we've always used engineered plastics is that you can really dial in, you know, with the same mold. You know, you can see these are the exact same molded base plates, you know, between these two. But with all the different types of engineered plastics out there, you can really dial in, you know, different performances. So both of these are a fiberglass loaded nylon composite.
Yep.
This one has 30% fiberglass, you know, to nylon ratio, and this one has 45.
Right.
So that extra 15% gives this, you know, a much stiffer, you know, overall responsive feel. So
Right.
again, reflex, so it still flexes this way, but that toe and heel is stiffer. So in the Cartel, it's, you know, a real clean, simple binding.
Right.
Not, you know, not too many frills, you know, nothing too crazy with it. That's why, you know, a lot of guys just like that, you know, that response. And it's kind of has that responsive carbon binding, just without the price tag.
Right. And then the high backs. The high backs are quite a bit different too. It's like, you know, the Cartel has a little notch out.
Yeah, a lot of that's for weight, things like that. They both
Right.
have the living hinge, so your, you know, forward lean adjustability is, you know, done just by turning that, and it just adjusts the top part of the high back without having to, you know, screw up the, you know, the spacing on the heel cup, which is, you know, if you ride a lot of forward lean, that can be an issue. But
Right.
the other major difference, I think, between the two high backs is really the
Heel
hammock.
hammock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what this does, it's it's basically like a rubber mesh. It just grips the backstay of your boot. You know, so then you don't have to crank the straps down as tight. You can ride a you know, a click or two lighter with it, and still it's not
Got it.
your boot's not going to slide up out of the
Right.
binding. So
You know, aesthetically, they look fairly similar. Besides the toe strap, the ankle straps are both mold injected, but they have definitely a different feel.
yeah. And again, to get that different feel of the binding, something a little bit more movement in it. The Malavita's got an asymmetrical strap, so you can see it's a little bit. The wing doesn't come up quite as tall as like it does in the Cartel on the inside here. So what that does is allows for a little bit more, you know, lateral movement towards the inside.
Got it.
Where, you know, the Cartel and even the material itself on the hammock is a little bit stiffer.
Great.
So this is gonna just, you know, push you into the binding and hold you there, just give you a little bit more of a snug, more response feel to it.
Okay.
So, and again, it's not that, you know, one's better than the other. It's personal preference. You want to feel locked down and just locked into that binding. You know, if you're driving stiffer boards, you know, you want that knife edge performance. You want to go Cartel. If you want that, you know, middle of the road, nothing, you know, it's gonna drive any board but not be super edgy. You want something a little bit more comfortable. Then, you know, Malavita.
That's the Malavita.
Yeah. So, and we're perfect examples of that. You like Cartels.
I like Cartels.
I like Malavita.
You know, I think I should probably kind of step into Malavitas just a little bit more than I do, but I just
You don't have
love
to.
I know.
You know what it does.
I know what
you know that's kind of the beauty of it. So.
And how can you beat these two colorways right now? Like, those look great. Don't get me wrong, but like this
That red is pretty sexy.
red, like this matte red, and then this eye on the back, like those are both dope.
Yeah, but
Super.
maybe I'm just a little older. I like the black and the gray with the little copper hits. You know?
Right.
This green matches the family tree ones really well. It's got a little, it's hard to see, but a little bit of wood grain right here.
Yes,
You know?
nice. A little more sophisticated over there.
Yeah. Get some cognac and a cigar. And
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Jason, man, thank
hopefully
you so
that
much.
helps.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it really will. You know, like there's, you know, a lot of people ask, you know, like, what's the difference? A little more high performance, a little stiffer, a little more maybe comfortable, a little bit looser.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple. Cool. Jason, thanks for being here, man.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Love
Yep.
it.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for watching, of course. And if you have more questions about any kind of comparison videos from Burton, let us know by leaving a comment in the section below. Subscribe to the channel over there. Check out more vids over here, maybe. And hopefully, we'll see you guys on Snow. Peace.
See ya.